The Tilly head, as well as being a very versatile training aid for levels 1, 2 and 3, teaching all of the therapies that we've discussed. The Tilly head also forms an attachment for our masks. This is the Electrolysis probing mask, and this is a product that I'm particularly excited about. The Electrolysis probing mask has got the texture that you would expect to find on the human skin. The Electrolysis probing mask also has hair follicles, and each follicle has got a different density. So traditionally, electrolysis students would practice probing an orange or a tea bag where there's no resistance at all. It becomes a very different thing for the learner when they're then expected to start self-probing their arm or leg, or even worse, probing a colleague. And then the worry, of course, is when you're working on clients, if your probing technique is not perfect, you run the risk of white ring scarring caused through white ring burning. And when you think about that, it's because the current is released too soon, too late, burning the follicle, which will leave scarring that the client will wear for the rest of their lives. So with the Electrolysis probing mask, it comes with these clips at the side that fit perfectly to the Tilly head, and they clip over the ears, holding it in place nice and firm. You can then dress the head as you would a client, and then using your mag lamp. When our learners are learning the probing technique, they have to learn the position of their hand, the position of the arm, when to release the current by depressing a finger press or the foot pedal. So the great thing about the Electrolysis mask is that our learners can really perfect this technique. Rita Roberts introduced her own method of the blend electrolysis to the beauty therapy industry over 50 years ago. Rita Roberts thought the electrolysis mask is fantastic, and her comments when she used it was, "I've waited over 20 years for this." So we can encourage our learner to stretch the client's skin, identify the hair follicle, stretch the skin, probe into the skin, depress the button, release the current and slide out. One of the most difficult things for any learner is the feel of entering the skin. In actual fact, if you probe correctly, you're going into a hair follicle, you're not actually entering the skin at all. But lots of people are needle phobic. That could be the learner, the client, their colleagues in their classroom. And the fact that the electrolysis mask has got the texture of skin, and you do actually pierce into the follicles, so you do actually enter into the skin, although you're not piercing the skin, it overcomes that fear, and you can probe and probe and probe until you feel really confident to start self-probing or working on colleagues, building up the confidence until you're ready to work on clients. Alongside the electrolysis probing mask, we've also designed an underarm and bikini line pad. As we know, in this area, hair grows in different directions. So the pad comes on a free stand that you can use on the desk. So for your first probing lesson, your learners can practice probing into the pad. But the great thing about this pad is it's also detachable from its stand. So once again, you can work with colleagues in the classroom environment, or where you're first working on the intimate areas of the bikini and underarm, and you can position the client, lie the pad in the position of the underarm, and the learner will experience the probing whilst the client is holding themselves in the holding technique. The underarm and bikini probing pad is very useful in identifying the way that hair does grow in different directions and how challenging it can be to probe in these intimate areas. And remember, these areas are more sensitive than other areas on the body.